We're live.
What's up, everybody?
Ooh, look at all those people.
I can't see him streaming in yet, but if you're here, there we go. Okay, Matt, where are you? I'm at the beach, everybody. I
Lucky
am,
Matt.
yeah, I'm in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Don't tell anybody. It is awesome. We're gonna chat for 2 or 3 minutes. If you can, tell us where you're from. And there's a lot of people joining us tonight. Um, People are wondering if we're here or not. Just let us know where you're from, where you are, and Catherine and I, we're going to let everybody roll in for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then
Tell
we
us where you're
will.
You know, Matt, I don't know if this is true for you, but I got to say, ever since this lockdown, I mean, I'm getting on more of these Zoom calls with just lipstick and hardly any makeup. You wearing any makeup?
I just took a shower in an outdoor shower, and I was at the beach. I was at the Sound. I was jet skiing with my kids, and took an outdoor shower. It was pretty awesome, and rolled out. I got swim shorts on and a nice shirt.
Yeah, what's on underneath the? Oh, look at all these places people are coming in from.
All right, we got British Columbia. All right, are you allowed to watch a Zoom from the States anymore? I think we're blocked out. PA, Indiana, Oakland, California. What's up? Ruth Combs. Just keep looking. It's coming.
Oklahoma, Milford, Connecticut.
We've got lots. There we go. Michigan Animal Rescue League. Awesome. Very cool. Alexandria. We're going to let everybody roll in for about 2 or 3 minutes. Jersey, Ohio, PA. God, love it. This is awesome. This is going to be, if you're just rolling in, we're going to start in about 2 to 3 minutes. This is a really cool class, Basics of Photo Organizing. Jennifer Dickerson, what's up, girl? From my church. What's up? Miss Howard, what's up? God, everybody in here. This is cool, super cool. Always have my
it's a good topic.
Well, it's a great topic, and my mom's friends always peek in on this. It makes me laugh. My mom still doesn't really believe this is a real job, and but like all of her friends come to watch my shows, which I love.
Melbourne,
I am in Melbourne, Australia. What? Yeah, this is awesome.
That's a photo pro.
Okay, very cool.
Diana
all right, so
from Orlando.
We're gonna let everyone about 2 or 3 minutes here, and then we'll get started. This photo organizing is a big issue for me. It's a big hurdle for me. We see it all the time in downsizing. If you're watching, you either know me, Lakeside, Virginia. What up, Richmond, Virginia? All right, my hometown. People are coming in. If you know me from Hoarders, awesome. I appreciate it. We have a lot of people that are new to Hoarders now. I guess Netflix bought Hoarders, which has really changed my life. I had pretty much, for personal reasons, I was trying to not do as many hoarded houses anymore because my kids. I was trying to be home with my kids more. And we're just spending more time doing hoarding. So it is what it is. And I've still got my new show, Legacy List with Matt Paxton, on public television. Very excited. Total Wine and More. What's up? That's the way to do this. Drink some wine and listen to this class. I love it. All right, we are going to talk about we're going to have time for Q&A at the end. This will be about an hour. And if it goes really well, we'll do it once a month.
Yeah.
But I think we can get started. We're, way 2 more minutes. But photo organizing has just been a big issue for all my clients. The biggest thing I hear is they say, I'm ready to move. Right. And this is, look, let's be honest. This is going to live online. If you want to see this again, you can watch it tomorrow on Facebook Live, or you can watch it we'll have it on a YouTube link anywhere on my YouTube channel, which is I am Matt Paxton. We'll post this everywhere for you to have. And, but no matter what we're doing, COVID or not, people are moving. People are really struggling with pictures. And so I've invited Cathi Nelson. Cathi Nelson is what's your official title here? Let me look this up.
Can you look me up?
She is the founder of the Photo Managers. Cathi, I would say arguably the top photo management association in the country, both professional and is your title on there? No.
I'm not sure what you're looking at. Oh, look at that, Cathi Gelati. Yeah. So the photomanagers.com.
There we go. All right. Her name's up there. Okay. So she is the founder of the Photo Manager.com. I think we're ready. Everybody's, ATL. All right. We're ready to go now. Okay. For me, and Cathi and I we met at a pretty interesting trade show.
Right before COVID.
Right before COVID. Everything
COVID
shut down.
We just didn't know it. Luckily
we didn't get it. We met at Roof Tech. And there's probably some people here that are really into genealogy, and that's the conference that we met at, was Roots Tech. It's like Woodstock for genealogy. Like, it's crazy, like the old one, not the 1999, the 1969. These people really love genealogy, and it was fascinating, mind-blowing to me. And a lady named Margaret Novak, if you're in the senior move management industry, she said, you got to meet Cathi. And so we met at some little booth, like in the back corner. And we became we sat down and started writing business plans by the end of the night. I mean, we became just so excited to meet each other. And so, Cathi, I think main thing for me is you really have created the association for photo management. Why? Like, why do you care? Why is it so important to you?
Oh, well, I mean, this whole topic. I created, 11 years ago, I started the Association of Personal Photo Organizers, and we just changed our name to the Photo Managers in April, partly because it's become even so much more complex than just organizing. But I love to start with the reason why it's so important is I'm going to ask you why, right? And I'm asking everybody that's listening tonight, and we know it's a hot topic because so many people are here, but why do you take photos? So Matt, first of all, maybe how many photos have you taken today? But
my God, I'm at the beach, so 1,000.
Right. But besides that,
yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, it's gotten so out of hand. So that's another topic for another day. But really the why. Why is it that you take photos? And those of you that are listening, maybe you could go ahead and think about that for a minute. Why do you take photos? So go ahead, Matt. Give me a couple good reasons.
For me, I just want to, and I think people can type this in if they want. I mean, for me, I take photos because I want to have memories, and it makes me feel good. Right. It makes me happy.
Right. I mean, I always say we take photos to tell the stories of our lives, right? We're a people of stories. I think we're wired naturally that way. We sit around, you're having dinner with your family. What are you doing? You're telling a story about what happened that day. And photos is the key way. It's part of our visual heritage. And we have, as soon as cameras were invented and the ability to take a photo was created, and now video certainly, people started capturing that. And they're our most treasured memories, right? You look at those photos and they take you back on a trip in time. We marvel at our kids changing, at ourselves aging, right? Or at the house that you grew up in or the house that you live in today that, you look out front. I can look at my house and I can see the tree. I look at old pictures of my house, the trees were little and now they're towering above the house, right? I mean, all those things are the reason why we take photos. So what we care most about, these photos, are the things that's most unorganized usually in our life because we just have so many of them. This was true when I started this 11 years ago, and it has only accelerated beyond anything any of us, I think, could have ever imagined before the iPhone became the point and shoot camera in our hands. So that's really the why I'm very passionate about helping people sort through all those photos and turn them into something meaningful to pass on for themselves or for the next generation. And I started a whole industry of people who do that professionally, because a lot of people just can't get to it themselves. So you can hire somebody, a professional, who will do this for you. And they bring that same passion, every one of them, to this business. Because I always say, if you love people and you love stories, then working with somebody's photos is a wonderful profession.
Yeah, this lady, Kathy Stone, just read, I love this, to preserve my family photo estate. I love that. It kind of is an estate, Mm-hmm. So we got scrapbookers in here. We got all types, right? And we're going to talk. Oh, Tori Jones. This is important. Charna's on. What's up? I love it. Charna. Oh, that's not working. Sorry. This thing is, there was someone that said she loved me, and I thought that was really sweet.
Here's somebody, all my childhood belongings, including my baby book that was my grandmother made, was lost when my parents struggled financially and couldn't pay the storage bill. I was 15. Though, I mean, and we call September Save Your Photos Month, and we'll be doing a lot of free classes and things about this idea of, the fires right now, tornadoes, hurricanes. I mean, our photos are at risk of just digital obsolescence, just people losing track, not backing up. So that's a whole nother topic for another day. But I just saw her little clip on there. And I think, losing these photos would be heartbreaking for most people.
Yeah. And I mean, let me plug my TV show real quick. I've got Legacy List with Matt Paxton on public television. And, we always, I mean, it's always one of the Legacy List items every week is a picture. I had a lady just last week, and this was a guy, and he's 65 years old, and he's just like, man, there's one picture of my wife when she was a 8-year-old kid. And he's like, I got to find it. Like, they were moving out of this massive plantation. He's just like, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. And he's like, and it's a family that has all the financial means in the world, and that wasn't what mattered. It was just a picture that he really cared about. Which was really cool.
Was he able to? Did he know where it was, or was he?
You just have to watch and see. It'll be season 2. Okay, I am currently filming 2 shows right now. I'm filming Hoarders, filming season 12 of Hoarders. Season 11 just launched last night on A&E, and we're filming season 12. And then I'm also filming my TV show, Legacy List with Matt Paxton, which I'm really excited about. We're filming season 2 right now. And in fact, we had a photo manager was featured on the show last week for episode 2, which we're really excited about. And I cannot wait for that to show to air, because pictures were obviously a really, really important thing for this family. This is a professional photo manager, and she is obviously downsizing. And so like, how many pictures do you think she had, right? I mean, it was really, really fascinating. So anyway, all right, let's get into this. I think everybody's on. We've got a really great, man, there's a lot of people. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We want to provide some good free content.
Yep.
Obviously we're going to have some additional, if you want additional classes from Cathi and the photo managers, that'll be available at the end of this class. There's a, what's the download? There's a free download you're giving away tonight. What is that?
12 creative photo book ideas, which we'll talk about that as part of this process. We talk about the importance of, because once you get all these photos organized, what are you doing with them and sharing them? And so it's some really help people think outside the box, because a lot of times, hopefully what we'll do tonight is kind of peel back the layers and allow you to think a new way and break a lot of rules, because people have a lot of rules in their minds about how you organize your photos. And hopefully we can break some of those rules so that you can actually get working on them.
So. I do not have, folks, I cannot tell how many people are on this class, but I think we're killing it. So it may take me a few minutes to see your comments, but thank you for tuning in. I mean, obviously this just speaks to the need for this class. So Cathi, thank you for being here as well. I tell everybody, I try to do this class once a month. I am not an expert. I am just a curious consumer, just like everybody else. I'm just lucky. My job lets me go into people's houses, and I love it. And I get to find all the cool things. And I'm just trying to get content for people that can help them. So hopefully this class will help you guys learn a little bit more and get started. All right, Cathi, you told me the most important things were, you said there was 5 steps. And we're going to start with 5 steps. Step number 1 is to set a goal. Walk me through that.
Right. So if you're sitting here, and I'm sure if I looked at those comments, it's almost distracting. They come so fast. But the process, the most important thing to do is first to decide what is it that you want to accomplish. If I could wave a magic wand over your photo collection, or if you could, what would that look like? Because saying that you just want to get your photos organized or is not really is not enough, because that's not going to motivate you to keep moving forward. So here's some suggestions if you're a little bit unsure right now is, maybe you have the holidays are coming. It's July, but December will be here before you know it. Maybe you've wanted to create for your parents or your kids, maybe a photo book or some kind of maybe a video montage of their childhood photos and memories. And that's a goal. So, okay, I've got a goal. I have to have that done by December. Or you're getting ready to downsize, which obviously a big part of your audience, Matt, is people that are looking to move down to the next stage of their life. And so you don't want to move all of the photos that you have collected your entire life with you. So the goal is maybe to get your photo or collection down into an organized process so that you can take it with you to the next place that you're downsizing to, right? So step number 1 is to set a goal with a timetable.
So let me jump in. I love the timetable, right? So many people I know right now are downsizing. Now, there's so many steps to downsizing. Right. And this is an issue with me right now in season 2 of Legacy List, right? Everybody's downsizing, which means they're thinking about it. Doesn't mean they're moving tomorrow, right? But so many people are like, okay, COVID has made me realize it's either time to move or it's time to stay. I got a 90-year-old neighbor who's been telling me for 2 years I can buy his house. And I saw him last week. I said, hey, man, how you doing? He's like, good. I'm not going anywhere, dude. I'm staying right here. I was like, awesome, Carl. Whatever you want, man. And so people are making decisions, right? And so I know a lot of people are going through the beginning of it. And the photos tend to be the number one thing that holds them back. I've got a lot of senior living communities that say to me, dude, we got people on our wait list. We got apartments ready. And they say, just let me go through my pictures really quick.
Right. Yeah.
So goal, I love that you're setting a realistic goal with timeline. Like, what is the finish line? In hoarding cleanup, we always say, what's the finish line look like? Like, whatever makes each individual happy is what matters, right? So be very clear on your goal, and let's be real clear on a timeline. What's a realistic timeline?
Right. And it's interesting that you say that. Most people, if once you're in the process of moving, organizing your photos that's not the time to do it at that point. So because you'll get stopped in your tracks. Like, right, you open up a box and memories will come flooding in immediately. And literally, it's almost people get frozen, right, by that experience. So I agree. It's something that, especially if you're planning on downsizing at sometime in the near future, this is something you want to be thinking about now, right?
All right, let's go to goal number 2 here. And I apologize, my lighting. I'm at the beach and it's sunsetting, so like it's getting dark in here very quick. All right, step number 2, gather into one place. Organize.
So step number 2 is we call this the hunt and gather stage. So if you don't really know what you have, it's really important to get a visual and to do what we call take inventory, or to collect everything. So some suggestions about how you can do that. Maybe set up a card table in the corner of your living room, or just find a place where you gather everything and go on this hunt and gather stage. Gather all the photo albums that you have, the boxes of photos. I guarantee everybody on this call or on this live probably still has maybe photos in the envelopes that they came back the day that we actually printed photos, right? At the time that we were still printing, and you got those little.
It was Fox Photo. I cleaned this at everybody's houses. It's Fox Photo.
Yep.
It was People Drug, which is now CVS, and that 1 hour photo, whoever that was. And we got duplicates. We got duplicates of everything.
Everybody got doubles and triples, right? Which was really a license to print money for the photo labs, but that's another story. So you have all those, right? You also have photos. You have memory cards. Probably early on when we switched to digital photos, a lot of people would actually buy memory cards like they were rolls of film. It was like a psychological experience, I think. So you probably have maybe baggies of memory cards. You would probably have old floppy disks. You might have external hard drives. You may have rolls of film you still haven't developed. DVDs, maybe you put them on DVDs. An old computers. All of those things. If you can get all that into one place, so that you're taking inventory, and then make a list of what it is that you have, so that you know what the scope of the issue is. I have 7 albums that are blue albums, and then if you have time, put a sticky note on the album. This is album number 1, and quickly just write what are the dates in album number 1. Number 2, at this point, don't be looking through all the photos, because again, that's what's going to immediately hold you up in the process.
So all we're doing is getting them together.
We're just gathering them all into one place so that you can take a scope. And then you want to try, and as best you can, maybe to get a sense of how many photos. You're going to be surprised. Most people underestimate how many photos that they have. I think the average family has 10 to 11,000 printed photos.
Really?
Yeah, I should have asked you that. I think it's 10 to 11,000. But I'm curious, Matt, what you saw. You're in people's homes a lot more. What would you say?
Yeah, that's probably realistic. We
probably, about a 2 inch. Let's see, 200 photos to 1 inch is about the basic way of kind of.
Well, then, gosh, yeah, it's probably 10,000 to 20,000. A lot of our the big issue, and I don't want to get into too much specifics on this, is a lot of people. Photo Smart, thank you, and Photo Matt, that was 2. Wilman Simmons, thank you. People's Drug. All right, sorry, I'm looking at all these questions. A lot of people they actually inherit the last generation's photo collections, right? And so I'll go into a house and they'll be like, well, that's my great aunt's photos over there. And that's like half a room, right? And they're like, oh, and that's my mom's over there. And that's my mother-in-law's. We don't talk anymore, right? Like, this is my favorite. I'll get a lady, she's like, well, that's my ex-husband's side of the family. I've got other pictures. I'm like, okay, and why do you have them? She's like, well, everybody died in that side of the family. And I'm like, okay, so there's no one to give them to. She's like, nope, this is one lady. She goes, everybody died. And she goes, I just feel guilty. I can't get rid of them. And I go, well, everybody's dead.
We're going to talk about that guilt. Yeah.
Let's get rid of it. All right, we'll hold back on guilt. I love it. Guys, if you're laughing at some of these stories, please post because I want people to know they're not alone. People feel guilted into accepting all these. And you can say to people, I'll take 3 photos. That's it. It's okay to say that. All right, so we're gathering everything. That can be more complicated than we think. The next
step, you're taking inventory and you're getting an idea of really what the scope is of what you have. Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right, number 3 is organize, the ABCs.
So I created this acronym called the ABCs of photo organizing, and this works best with printed photos, better than it does with digital, which is a whole nother.
Leo, let me tell you real quick. We are not talking digital photos tonight. We are only doing printed photos. We'll do another class strictly on digital, probably in the fall. But keep going.
We do multiple classes on that. Yeah. So printed though is tangible. You see them, you know what they are, and things like that. So when I was working with clients to just help visualize this process, it's called the ABCs of photo organizing, right? So when you're starting to look, when you're ready now to go into those boxes of photos and start to do something with them, you want to ask yourself: Is this photo album worthy or archival worthy, right? Then that becomes your A. You can do your piles. You can start with get a photo safe box and label it. These are my A photos, right? And so say you've picked your project. You know that you want to make an album of your kids are in their 20s and maybe you want to make them each a baby album, right? So you're looking for the photos of your kids and you're going to say, these are my A photos. These are archival worthy, album worthy. That's the A photo. But the B photo is the hardest part, right? Because it's really hard to know, is this really an A photo or B photo? Or, and you get stuck in that. So the B photos are the ones that you're not 100% sure if they're an A photo, but you don't want to get rid of them. You feel like you have a lot of guilt and anxiety that you would lose those photos. So those become the B. They go back in the box. And the best thing about those photos is you can write a note on that box and you can say, so when somebody opens it up 20 years from now, these photos, feel free to throw these away. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And this is what's in this box of photos, because you've already separated out your A photos. Okay, so those are your B photos. And don't you wish your family that you've inherited photos from had done that for you, because they probably didn't. So that's why you've never gotten rid of those photos. Your C photos is really, really critical. That is, can you throw these photos away? Yes, you can. And you can toss them in the can. And so I use an 80-20 rule that you should eliminate at least 80% of your photos and save your 20% best.
All right, I'm gonna ask on the C's. There's got to be. I'm sure we could do a whole class on this ABC. You probably do a couple. I do.
Yep.
I got a lot of clients, and I'm sorry, guys. It is really, really dark here. Let me try.
But you're not dark in the picture. My picture.
No, I've got a ring light. Yeah. A lot of my clients will say, "Hey, I'm gonna separate all the C's. I don't want them, but I'm gonna put them into piles for each kid or each family member, and then I'll give them a month to come get them." What's your opinion on that?
No, well, we're going to get to the next part after we do this, is the digitize, right? So there's no need to put them in piles and expect you can, once they're scanned and digitized, then you can hand them to your children on either, on a flash drive and ideally in a safe cloud storage backed up for them, because they're just inheriting the printed photo mess that you're just passing the problem down the pike in a way when you do that, in my opinion.
I call that punting. On downsizing, I call it punting, right? Like it's the wood couch that everybody feels like they have to keep because their grandma wanted them to keep it, and they inherit it because they feel so guilty for it. But you're saying just digitize the pictures, give them to the kids, and say, you do what you want with these digits.
And I don't recommend that so here's an issue that a lot of people do. They'll just digitize all their photos, and maybe many people already have, without having gone through this ABCs process. Then all you're doing is recreating the same mess digitally that you actually had physically, and that's a nightmare. So I don't recommend.
Say that again. I love that. You're exactly right. Say this again.
I do not recommend digitizing all your photos without going through this process of eliminating at least close to 80% of them, because you're just going to recreate the same mess, except for it's a digital mess, out of sight, out of mind, and it's no use to anybody, especially if you haven't done what we call tagging, adding metadata. So you don't even know, they're just 0005555.jpg, right? But so
I had to put a question up because this is a good one. The Kathleen Rogan, I'm sorry to throw you out here, but everybody feels this way. She says, "Hey, the thought of throwing out photos is terrifying. I don't know if I can."
Okay, so let me.
Dude, I get it. I get it.
So let's talk about this for a minute. So let me just say what I mean by C photos are the blurry, the doubles, the dud photos, the people where not everybody's looking at the camera, the ones that really don't have any value, and then many of your
the landscapes,
I call them
that you do not know. Scenery that you don't even know where they are. Yeah.
So the sun is set. That's the creative aspect of photography, right? I take photos of sunsets and the flowers every spring, and when the tulips come out and everything, right? It's so beautiful in the snow. When it snowed on the tulips, next year the sun's gonna come out and the snow's gonna probably fall on your tulips again. So you can throw those photos away. If you went to the Grand Canyon, maybe save your favorite 5 photos of the Grand Canyon, but you don't need all 200 or 300 photos of the Grand Canyon. Most likely it's going to look the same 100 years from now that it does today. So that's what we mean by scenery shots, blurries, duddies, the sky. Because if we go back to the reason why we take photos, it's because we want to tell stories, right? So that's the S, A, B, C, S. Ask yourself, does this photo tell a story? Because if it tells a story, then that becomes an A photo. And what I mean by a story is just that maybe it's your son sitting on Uncle Henry's lap, and Uncle Henry has the weirdest look on his face. I would look at it and think, gosh, that's a weird look. But you know that that's the silly face that Uncle Henry made for the kids always. And so you're going to save that photo as an A photo, but you're going to take a time to tell a story about that photo, because
right,
that's
so
what we want to remember.
Yeah. Okay, I've added, somebody asked us to put it up here, and I think Liz McKinley, you got to be a photo organizer. Liz Golden McKinley, she means photo manager. She typed it for us really good here. A equals album or archival worthy. B equals box photos that could toss. C equals photos that can be tossed in the can. C can. I like that. And what was S? S
is the most important part to me, is does the photo tell a story? Because that
does it tell a story. Love it.
That if we go back to what we started with, this whole presentation, I asked you, why do you take photos? It's to remember, it's to tell stories, or maybe it's an artistic endeavor for you, whichever. I mean, those are the S, right? So if you go through that process, then you've got your photos down into a more manageable, you can get your arms around it. And then the next really important question to ask yourself is, okay, so you have all these photos. If your photos are not in chronological order, don't panic, because that's where I always say we take photos chronologically, right? Because today is Wednesday evening and tomorrow's going to be Thursday, and you're at the beach, but we live and remember our lives thematically. In other words, what is it about being at the beach that your kids are going to remember? You said you were out on those wave runners today, probably, right?
Yeah.
So what does that tell me about you? I don't know if your kids did you boys get to go out there with you on it?
They did. So I had my 2 oldest with me. We're actually in it's interesting. My 10-year-old said to me on the way out the door this morning, Dad, can we have a no camera day, a no phone day?
Wow, good for him.
Yeah. I'll repeat that. My son said, can we have a no phone day? And so when my son says that, my ears go like big. And so I have no photos of the best day at the beach, because my son specifically doesn't like, I mean, I work a lot, unfortunately, and I take an email and I'll do things, and I've got to get better at my time management on that to allow.
Or maybe use a camera instead of your phone, right?
It's funny you say that. I think I'm going to just get a camera, a legit, okay camera, because they do not want me taking my phone anymore, and I respect that. And it's really kind of awesome, honestly.
But the story of that would be, I'm just making this up, but you're a family that loves adventure, right? I mean, so the idea of what are the themes of your family? Here's some suggestions. We're a family that loves to travel. We like adventure. We like to celebrate. We love each other and one another. We love theater. And so if you can organize your photos thematically. So look for all the photos of your family vacations and think about passing down that memory of all the family vacations you've taken. So when you go to the next step of digitizing these photos, you can digitize them thematically instead of just only digitizing them chronologically. I mean, if you're a chronological person and you've kept your photos, and you can grab your 1977 photos because right after that comes 1978, good for you, that's amazing. But not everybody has done that. A lot of people, and then that's where they get really frozen, because they think there's a rule in their mind that I can't show pictures of Johnny unless it's in chronological order, when really we want to know that, did Johnny love playing soccer? It's much more interesting to look at the photos of Johnny playing soccer from the time he was 4 and 5 to when he's hitting the heady goal, right? So that's a deal breaker.
It just keeps coming back to what's the story, what's the story, what's the story. So it's the S, which I love. And that's the whole point of my TV show, The Legacy List with Matt Paxton, is it's about what's the story. It's getting the stories. I mean, people really don't need the stuff in their house. It's the stories attached to the stuff. Hey, the lady just wrote, I am really embarrassed. Liz Golden McKinley is a very successful professional organizer in the Bay Area. Thank you, whoever corrected me on that. I met her at a NAPA meeting, so I apologize. All right, this is awesome. I'm not used to having this many people online, and so I think we're pushing the limits of this
I
technology
think
that
we
we're
also
using?
have, I know I see a lot of our members that are pros here.
Yeah,
And if you're
great.
asking questions, the pros, go ahead and
They're
identify
answering.
yourself like Rachel Jenkins and stuff that
Yeah.
you're say, hey, I'm a pro photo manager and here's my answer to these questions because I can't
So
read when they're coming up so
yeah,
fast.
no, and here's what's really cool. So when this class publishes tomorrow, the Facebook Live link, all these comments are in there. 100% of these comments are. So you're going to see people tonight that you want to reach out to. You'll be able to tomorrow. Okay, we're at 750 people. This is awesome. Very cool. All right. For sake of time, because there's a lot of questions I really, really, really do want to get to on the Q&A side. So let's go to the next one. We did organize. The next is going to be step 4.
Save. Digitize and save, or save. Yeah. Digitize or save, right? So that's so again, the scanning those photos, whether you're either going to do it yourself or send it to a professional, is really important at this point, so that you can then then you're backing them up, right? So that way there, you want to back them up on an external hard drive, and also in the cloud, you want to have multiple backups. So it's not safe enough just to have them in the cloud or just on an external hard drive. A lot of people don't realize external hard drives have a short lifespan, maybe 2-3 years, or if you drop them. And then little flash drives can easily get lost, but you do want to make sure that you have them backed up in multiple places. So digitizing those printed photos. And then at that point, people always ask this question, well, do I keep the printed photos? I say that keep the A photos in a photo safe box, archival quality box with, you can use like index cards, again, telling some of those stories, identifying who these people are in these photos, because think about how frustrating it is when you inherit all those photos and you don't know any of the details. Yeah. But the rest, I mean, if you can do that C process, I really recommend that.
What about gloves? I got yelled at last week.
You should be wearing, yeah. Okay. When you're going through this process, you want to wear, today we all have, I mean, I never had so many face masks in my life, right? Yeah. Old photos can have mold on them, and right? They can be dusty, moldy. So do it in a place where there's fresh air. Wear a mask, and yes, white gloves, because the oil on your hands can actually start to impact those photos. So use white gloves, cotton gloves, and then also wear face masks. We recommend, especially if they've been in basements and attics, and mold spores have gotten on all of those things. You can also water damage photos. We have a great free course that Cathi Stone, I know, who was here, has done on about, she's in Calgary and how she rescued after the floods in Calgary, a whole information about how she rescued all these photos from the flood.
I heard a story about this. Go on. She's kind of famous for this, so keep going.
Cathi, you should wave there. So yeah, she and documented that process, and it's a free course, so that your photos aren't ruined if they've gotten wet, which is shocking to people.
All right, I got a top senior manager, move manager asking a question here, so I'm gonna pop it in here real quick. Oop, no, wrong one. Sorry, we'll come back to that one. Charna. Here we go. Isn't this causing more clutter? What's our answer there? Is it short-term versus long-term?
What is this, though? Because I'm trying to
the whole process of going through A, B, and C. The goal, I think we're starting with a bunch, right? We're starting with probably 10,000. And hopefully this takes us down to
2,000.
2,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So it may take, this is not, I think it's really important to acknowledge here. Thank you, Charna. And I love you, Charna. Charna's one of my favorite people.
And when we talk about digital, we'll talk about deleting phones. I mean,
and there's a lot of questions about that. My lawyer literally just texted me. I have to say, anything in the comments is not my words. My lawyer literally just got nervous. So she sees there's a lot of good information in the comment section here, and there's a lot of professionals giving advice. I can't speak for any of it. All I can speak for is Cathi and I on the screen. Take the advice at your own risk. I'm not endorsing anything other than the photo managers and, of course, myself, Matt Paxton.
You have an attorney, Matt? I don't have an attorney. Keep an eye out for me.
Dude, he watches everything. My screen just went crazy wonky on me. Is everybody okay? Is everybody looking all right on theirs? All right. Did I just totally freeze up?
I don't think I have. I mean, I see you.
All right,
live, and the comments are still coming in. I don't know if yup means we froze or not. Somebody should have said yup.
Everybody good?
You're frozen here. Okay. Are we back?
Okay. My lady is saying I'm good. If she says, then I'll just keep going. My screen has totally froze. Cathi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can't hear you at all, but we're just going to keep going. Number 5 is
share.
Save and
share. So the last part is, again, the importance of sharing these photos. They're not photos that are stored up in hard drives or in file folders on your desk or on your phone that aren't seen or do not have any value. And so there's so many ways you can share your photos today. Everything from online photo galleries to wall displays of family photos to photo albums, which is that giveaway, the 12 different photo album ideas, which is like the ABCs. A great gift I made for my niece was the ABCs of her family members, right? So she learned her ABCs by looking at photos of family members.
Guys,
I hear you, Matt. You can't hear me?
I have totally frozen everybody. I can't hear anything. I know Cathi can.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to keep going, but I can't see any of the comments. All right. So, Cathi, what are the biggest hurdles? We've done 5, so we know how to digitize. We've done 5, which is share. I think that's really important. What are the biggest hurdles?
I think setting a goal and having a tight timeline and getting yourself started is a big hurdle for most people. Second is not feeling like you're going to do it right, that there's like a right and a wrong way. I always tell people throw the rule books out. Like the person who said, I can't throw photos away. Then ask yourself why. Where did that rule come from that we don't throw photos away? Because you go back to what the purpose of the photos, right? So hopefully I'm still here, but Matt disappeared. But I'm going to keep going. Am I still here? I hope so. Okay. And so hopefully Matt will pop back up. So he asked me, what were the, there he is. Are you hearing me now, Matt? What are the things that are holding people back? So I would say, and then feeling like you don't understand technology, confusion by all the myriad of choices are out there. And I'm here to tell you that it's not your fault that you're overwhelmed with, especially the digital photos, that the, Apple did not think about when they made the iPhone that we would suddenly be taking more photos than every minute than all of humanity has taken since the camera was invented. And so they haven't created easy to use workflow solutions for you. So eliminate that guilt that somehow there's a right way and that you're the only person on the planet who hasn't figured it out yet. That's not true. So hopefully that has helped with those are the biggest pitfalls, I think. And Matt, I hope you're back on here and hearing us.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? All right. I'm blind. I'm going blind here. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm hoping these are good answers. I know this is what I want to, I really want to know, what's your favorite story from doing all this? Like of all the people you've helped, what's your favorite story?
Ooh, you didn't warn me ahead of time. I'm going to tell this story because I just told the story today to somebody. I have lots of stories, but one of our members, we have a certification program. She talked about helping a family document their daughter who had passed away from cancer at age 11. And she helped her with all her childhood artwork and created it in an album. And I worked with a client at one time who lost her husband and son within a year of each other. And about a grief counselor recommended me about 5 years after that had happened. And the process of sitting with her, going through those photos and letting her tell me the stories. And then we sent letters to all the family members asking to share back favorite stories of her husband and her son. And it was just a really powerful process. It was a reconfirmation of a life well lived. Whoops. And and it was a very therapeutic process for her to take the time to go through those photos like that. So I think Matt isn't seeing me, but everybody else seems to be seeing me. So I'll just keep going with that question about a favorite project. That's one example of a favorite project. Another one is doing for people. What is it that I love about you? Doing albums, of these are the things I love about you, or these are a few of my favorite things. As women on this call, many of us maybe have never done photos about ourselves. Take the time to go around and think about, who are you and what are the things that you love, and create a document of photos. So I have one of those, like me drinking my first cup of coffee in the morning, writing in a journal, cooking. I love to cook. I took pictures of my cookbooks. I love to listen to music. I love to take walks. And so I have a little album that I have of these are my favorite things. So those are some theme ideas of what you can do with those photos after the fact. And so Matt doesn't realize we're all going on, but people here are all still saying good. So the questions, though, I can't.
All right. My computer has crashed, everybody. So can anybody hear me? Cathi, can you hear me? Raise your hand. Okay. Yes. I am getting questions text from my intern. I cannot hear or see anything. I can barely see. So we're going to go ahead and go through some questions here.
Okay.
There are some really, really important questions I know popping up. And I'm going to go ahead and ask a few of mine that I saw, Cathi. People are going to be asking about slides. What's your quick on slides?
Digitize your slides. I mean, they have to be scanned at a higher DPI because it takes more of your slides. It can be frustrating if you don't know what's on the slides. There's a light table app you can get on, you can download on your iPad. So that's a quick way to kind of look at your slides. If you want slides, sometimes you do have to digitize them before maybe you can see all of them. So that's one way, is just to digitize them. The other option then is to kind of use a light table and view them ahead of time. But slides reproduce beautifully as prints, and most people have slides. And it's a joy to suddenly discover all the photos you have never seen in those slides. Next question.
What was step 5?
Share your photos. The importance of sharing. And, I could do a whole class. I could do a whole hour on just share ideas. But the idea is to get your photos back into your life, when we go through this process, we want to make sure that we're enjoying those photos that we've taken and that we have access to them easily. So the share is actually the most fun. That's the part when you feel like, wow, it was really worth the process of doing this project, because I could actually see them and enjoy them into the future.
One question is, what's the timeline? Like, how long to go through the initial process? Like, how long should you give yourself to go?
It depends on the collection of photos that you have. I mean, this is not a weekend project. So the first thing, eliminate anybody who's thinking they're going to do this in a week or a weekend. That's an unrealistic expectation. This is usually a good, I would think, 6 week, 8, if you're pretty diligent working on it 2 or 3 times a week, it's going to the average person, it's going to take you a good 1 to 2 months to get through this process. So you eat an elephant one bite at a time, and you go through this process one bite at a time.
All right. I've got one. This is my question. When it's time to discard, what's a proper way to discard? Can you recycle them? Should you shred them? Should you donate them? What should you do?
You can't, they're not recyclable. Most of the paper that it's been printed on is not recyclable. So you're really forced with, shredding and throwing away. You can donate, though. There are museums, if they're old photos. I mean, many people probably have a lot of old photos. Some museums and places will take collections of old photos. But for the most part, if they're just your average photos, unfortunately, that is the only option that you have. Unless a pro knows better than me, which they may.
You can see the questions.
They can write that.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't see or hear anything. I'm going off text. Is there a good scanner you would recommend? So people that want to scan by themselves, is there a scanner you would recommend?
And I know somebody just asked that question about, scanning negatives would be very expensive. It is. You could do that yourself. And the reason it's so expensive, well, first of all, you might want to shop that around, because I saw that $20,000 price tag somebody just said, but is that it takes a lot longer the process takes a lot longer for the scanner and things like that. So that's what you're paying for. But, both Epson and Canon have good scanners. I mean, many of our members use Epson scanners, the Epson V 500, 600. You can read reviews online. The fast photo, that high-speed scanner, has had some issues. So I don't know if we've seen a lot of reports that it doesn't work as well as people had hoped that it would. But definitely you can hire, I suggest you work with a local, either photo manager, photo retailer, to have your photos scanned. I don't necessarily recommend that you box them up and send them to the inexpensive photo where you get all the Groupon, there's a lot of advertising out there. We don't recommend a lot of those companies. It's they're looking at high volume as opposed to high quality. And so we definitely recommend that you go with high quality. And you can scan yourself. It's just going to take time. And I recommend that you get a good scanner. And then again, you want to keep your scanner clean. You want to get the dust off it. You want to wear those gloves.
Hey,
and so those are important things to consider. Go ahead.
I'm seeing some. I can see half the comments. I'm sorry. You guys have broken the software because we got so many people on here. This is great. I hear, I do see some people that have like sold photos. I think that's the exception, not the norm. I do see it happening. I want to spend more time on really on the guilt side of this. What's your advice? And I'm gonna give you my advice first, and then I mean, when someone dies and then you feel bad for throwing away the photos, I will tell you what I tell my mother anytime she says, "Well, what would your grandfather say?" All right, and that is a common, and in downsizing here, what would your grandmother say? And I always answer, he died 20 years ago. I think he'd be fine with it. What's your advice on the guilt side of this? How do you embrace that?
Well, if you take the time to do this process now, there's going to be less guilt when somebody passes away. I mean, we know, like during this COVID time right now, we saw those pictures of the nurses and stuff wearing their photos of themselves on their masks, so that the clients, because they're coming in those rooms all garbed. I mean, that just tells you the power of a photo. So the guilt. This is again the guilt of eliminating and throwing away photos. I think if we ask ourselves, what do you want to be remembered for? What's important to you, and to do that before somebody passes away, and ask those family members questions. This is critical wherever. I think take the time to sit with your family members, or if it's painful for you to do that, a pro will do that. I mean, we love most of our members. We are passionate about this. I love listening to people's stories about their photos, and can sit and would document the answers to these questions. Tell me about these photos. How were you feeling at this time? Those are the things. If you take the time to get that done, you shouldn't feel any guilt about eliminating the blurry doubles and all those kind of photos that really don't have any value anymore.
All right. I just saw a comment pop up. How do you thin out your framed photos? I keep buying more frames. Stop buying more frames. We're good. You got too many. If you don't, there's more in the attic. Because I get hired to throw them away. Stop buying frames. You don't need them. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I'm off the top of my head, I can't think of some of the product. There's some great products out there where you can now keep the frame up and then just slip the photos in. You can just change out the photo instead of changing out the frames constantly. There's some really great products out there like that. I think framed photos are displayed in a home is wonderful, but again, you don't want to just keep adding to that collection. You want to maybe shift out the photos and rotate them. I also do believe printing photos is really important because holding a tangible photo in your hand has a lot more value than a photo that you're seeing on your screen or on your your camera screen. So.
All right, I think we're gonna, because I cannot hear. Sorry again. I'm gonna go through a few more. I think an app. I mean, people are asking about an app. How do you digitize them? First of all, can you digitize negatives?
Yes, you can scan. You can scan negatives. You have to buy a specific scanner that allows for you to do that. You can scan negatives. It's a much more expensive scanner, and it's going to take a lot more time. So a lot of these things, I think personally, slides and negatives, I recommend that you maybe have an expert do that who can do it for you much more efficiently. But you make your own decisions based on what it is that you want to do. There are apps. I mean, there's scanning apps. I mean, there's lots of options. My best advice is do some research on what's the best. Do some research.
Oh. So I'm having to read your lips stopping, so I know. Maybe give me a pointer that you're done. There we go. All right. Sorry. Thanks for everybody for dealing with this. I apologize. I literally cannot hear anything. Hey, I want to say that I could keep seeing this pop up, like get people to tell your stories, and man, that's what this is about, right? I do a thing I've been doing it for years, which is we tell our families just take 10 photos, right, for each grandkid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody's heard my story about a client I had, and we found a picture of her, and she was really hot. Like she was like 20 years old. Skirt was way too short for that time in her life, and she was smoking a cigarette. She's leaning up against a biplane from the war, and she was just a babe, right? And I know it was the lady I was standing next to, who's 85 years old, and
Hmm.
and I said, "Hey, who's that guy you're standing to?" And she goes, "Oh, it's Fernando." And she just moves on to the next story, and the granddaughter's like, "No, no, 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 who's Fernando? Like, I don't know about Fernando." And she goes, "Oh, Fernando was my lover." And we're all like, "Awesome, like awesome." And this is in the first season of Legacy List, and we're like, "I want to know that story." And so she starts to tell us a story that she was a professor at MIT, an art history professor. And her granddaughter goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you're a professor?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I thought you were just a student." Right. And as she starts to tell the story, well, I just want to know more about Fernando. But what the reality is this granddaughter is finding out that her grandma is even more of a badass than we thought. Right. And that is one thing I love about photos. It tells the story of a certain place and time. And a lot of times the grandkids only see grandma like holding their purse at Thanksgiving dinner, right? Like someone's going to steal
Right.
it. Right. So like this is a great opportunity. And so this lady ended up making me do this thing, which is I say take for each grandkid in the family, take a Ziploc bag, put 10 pictures in it, and write the full story on the back of it. Right. And give those 10 pictures, throw like some jewelry or something in there. It's a little time capsule. Like that's all it is, right? And get those stories and give them out at Hanukkah or at Christmas or whatever holiday you do. And you give those bags out. And I'm telling you, this was the first year that like I got all the stories back, and they were like, "Man, this was awesome." Like we spent the whole Christmas day asking these questions. And so this is a little bit of my, I'm going to promote myself here. If you go to my website, mylegacylist.com, you can join our mailing list, and we'll send you 10 top is on that. When you join the mailing list, you actually get a free download, which is top 10 questions I want you to ask your grandparents to start to hear their story. It walks you through it's just 10 simple questions. And usually what I've heard so far is you only get through about 3 because the stories start coming, right? And so grab a couple pictures and ask those questions, right? And download that list. It's mylegacylist.com. You can do it. We are running out of time. I think we got to do this again. I think clearly there's 1,000 questions. I would encourage people. This will be on the Matt Paxton fan page. It'll also be at mylegacylist.com, and you can also get on my YouTube page. I'm going to put a link here. If you would you please tell everybody what are the 3 offers we have? We have 3, and if you go to my website to do it, mylegacylist.com and / the photo managers. There's 3 opportunities here. Basically, the first one is if you want to learn more about how to do this yourself, you can tell us about the class they can take.
We have the Photo Organizing Made Easy is an online class, a course that I did. One is printed and one is digital photos. And we're doing Matt. I think it's Matt 15% off, and you should have that link to that, right? The Photo Organizing Academy is our online class where we have online classes. So that was the first one. You can save 15%. It's $119 for the bundle, and you can save on that. Let's see. The other, I wasn't ready for.
All right, so then the pro level class is the second class, which they tell us about that.
So becoming a pro, if you're interested in becoming a pro, as you saw, there's a lot of pros there. Nobody comes to us knowing how to be a photo manager for the most part. It's a brand new profession that's been growing. So we have a certification program. We have online classes all the time. Like today we did understanding user agreements and really taking our members through understanding Google, Amazon, Apple, those are all free. It's all part of your, so go to become a photo manager, to become a pro, and you have the link to that, Matt, and we will walk you through the whole process. There's also a webinar, Turn Your Love of Photos into a Business, which I really go through the in-depth information about what it means to do this as a business.
I'll tell you, many of my clients decide they want to do it themselves. They go buy a scanner, they get started, and then they call me a week later and they say, "Okay, hey, what was that website? I need to hire someone to do it for me." Don't be afraid to actually go to photomanagers.com as well to actually find out some local. There's good, and I think a lot of them are in the comments to your right. There's a lot of good local photo managers around.
And people can, You don't have to hire them to do the whole process. You can get some consulting, you can get some coaching. I mean, there's lots of options, and people can work with you all over the world. So that's important.
I think the last question, really quick, go through the 5 steps again, really quick if you can.
Oh, so we had so know the reason why, or set your goal. Then gather everything and hunt and gather stage, gather everything into one place and take inventory. 3 is curate your photo collection using the ABCs of photo organizing and deciding whether you want to organize thematically or chronologically. 4 is digitize or save, which is where you're backing up and digitizing that photo collection. And then the best and most fun part is 5 is to share those photos and have a plan to do something with them. And again, we could do multiple classes on this. And we didn't even talk about home movies, which is a whole nother really important, right? You find lots of clients with home movies. And Matt, you may not be hearing me. So I did my 5.
All right, guys, I haven't heard the last 20 minutes, so I hope it went well. I'll listen to it tomorrow. I appreciate all the pros that are in the comments giving advice. I appreciate all the people that are here just looking for advice. Hey, man, tell the stories. That's what I keep. Just go tell the stories. Go tell the stories. And if you get frustrated, pause, take a break.
Yeah.
It's okay, man. Like, if you don't get to it, don't worry about it. Do it tomorrow. Like, I'm learning to, what this whole COVID break has taught me is like, chill out. Like, it's okay. If you get a little bit done, that's better than yesterday. I don't care if it's 2 pictures. It's still better than yesterday. So when you set that goal, be realistic. But just take your time. All right. The link is on the bottom here. It's the mylegacylist.com/the photo managers. But also, you just want to go to mylegacylist.com and please join my mailing list. We're going to have a lot more free classes like this, 1 a month, not too much, but not too little. And you'll get to hear a lot of stuff about my new show. We are in the middle of filming. If you have anyone, I've got 1 more episode I got to film. If you got anybody that you can think of that's just a crazy old awesome family member that's got some cool stuff and they want to tell their stories, they don't have to be moving. They just need to be thinking about downsizing. We'd love to have them on the show. We got 1 spot left. And check us out. Hoarders starts airing Monday nights on A&E, and Legacy List with Matt Paxton is on public television all around the country, and you can get it on demand anytime you want at pbs.org. Guys, thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for dealing with my technology. Cathi, thanks for coming on here. We're going to do it again in October, I think. I'll get you back into the fall, and we'll do another one. Guys, thanks so much for having us, and we will see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm going to call you in about 2 seconds. Actually, I don't even know your number. Just call me on my cell if you would real quick. We're off.
Oh, we're off? What's your cell?